Hello, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be looking at the upcoming pattern. There might be a lot of you on your screen, but I will try to go through everything and try to explain everything as best as I can. To start off, just in the red, in the oceanic and tropical regions, I already went over the tropical updates on the update on the season forecast for the Atlantic, and yeah. Go check that video out if you haven't seen it. But yeah, anyway, general tropical activity above average in the Atlantic, and maybe some Hawaii moisture that is definitely needed there due to the drought, and some Alaskan moisture, some raininess this summer. But getting on to closer to our country, we see moisture coming up from Mexico. A lot of this moisture really impacting Mexico and really into some of the southwest east of Nevada. So we could be seeing some of those monsoonal activities really pick up, but not enough to the point where it would really help the drought and like solve it completely. So, which is annoying. But anyway, we see more dry conditions for the central United States, and some hot conditions, very hot, most hot in the black circle, and then most dry in the brown circle. Anyway, looking at general moisture, like maybe from the Gulf of Mexico at times, we could be seeing some moisture, especially for Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina at times. Really just moving through. And with those tropical cyclone tracks, we could be seeing, with this new pattern coming up, we could be seeing some more continued moisture and raininess. For the northern half of the country into the northeast, we could be seeing more thunderstorms and warmer weather return. Instead of a cooler and drier summer that we've had in our region, we will start to be getting a more rainy and hot and humid pattern. And for Canada, we're just more warmer weather and wetter weather coming up. In the circled region in Canada, some higher rain totals are possible. And yeah, we're going to be looking for that. And last thing to cover on this slide, we see the brown for the southwest, for the west and parts of the southwest. And just really dry and somewhat hot as you get farther south. Very hot in Arizona and California. In the darker browns, you see even more dry conditions, maybe even no precipitation or very little precipitation in the next week or two. And then really bad for Nevada and California. That's what we're really going to be watching for. Lake Mead, not good, and not a good condition right now, and the water levels are really low. People depend on that water to really live, and it's not good that we're seeing just that constant drought and very little moisture. But yeah, that's going to do it for this portion of the video on this slide. Now we'll move on to just the models and really showing you how this pattern is going to change and what it changed from. Alright, now let's just look at what we've been dealing with. We've been dealing with a lot of those high pressure systems moving in to the west, or at least high pressure conditions with drier air. We've seen some drier conditions for Hawaii, some drought, very hot in the central United States, and dry for the northeast. Some severe weather, otherwise, in portions of the east and for the upper plains, but other than that, yeah, dry for our region. But what we could be getting into is more of an active flow and some warmer waters, warm air and some moisture moving up into our region with some high precipitation totals on this region. Continued drought, dry conditions for this area, except for in this middle area in red, which will actually be seeing some monsoonal moisture But other than that, especially for the central United States and the western United States in these pink areas, more dry, especially in the west, where we're not really expecting too much moisture, unfortunately. But for our region, for the next week, some warmer or even hot conditions possible. Some things to note on. Potentially breaking 95 degrees this summer. I'm expecting closer to 100 degrees possible. Next week, the upcoming major pattern is just that warmer conditions and more humid and thunderstormy conditions, as I previously mentioned. But yeah, now let's just look onto the models for the final part of the video. Alright, looking at tropical tidbits and the GFS model, we see a lot of this activity for the Northeast, for the Southeast, and for the Upper Plains and Canada. Very dry in the central United States, but we also see monsoonal activity. Some high pressure systems moving in through Canada, but just a lot of activity for our region, some thunderstorms, and higher pressures for the west at time. But as you can see, very dry and not enough really moisture needed to get going. We see some tropical activity going in the eastern Pacific. We see Darby falling apart, Estelle maybe becoming a hurricane or even major hurricane, category 3, and then a couple systems behind it. Yeah. In the Atlantic, things are quiet for now, but are expected to be starting to get more active as time goes on. Going in the European, more short range. For the next few days, we see some activity for the eastern half of the country, some monsoonal activity, and some activity for the southeast, including Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, and portions of southern and southeastern Louisiana. But other than that, that's going to do it for today. One more thing to look at actually, though, is precipitation amounts, just to show you how I am thinking this is going to be playing out. So a lot of activity for the eastern United States, southern Canada, and even for some for Alaska, too, which is not unwelcomed. That is good. And then we also have less activity for Hawaii, but hopefully we get some systems bringing some rain there soon. Drought continues for the west, and dry conditions for the central United States, sometimes hot, and sometimes hot for the eastern half of the country too, up into our region, maybe some 90s, some days breaking in. But yeah, you could see a lot of that just continued raininess and thunderstorms coming in. Anyway, that's going to do it for today. Thank you for listening, and yeah, that's going to do it for today. Keep an eye out for more updates, and I'll see you very, very soon.